Yeah, good afternoon, all of you. Today's chief guest, Adipnath Bal Chaudhary, sir, Chairman and Managing Director of Valmer Alliance, Chairman of PRSI, Somajit, sir. Since I think I came to Calcutta since last 2 years, I still remember my interaction with sir on a virtual basis when COVID was going on, and a lot of questions that I still remember. The team here at PRSI, students, faculty members. First of all, thanks for inviting me here on this diversified platform. Usually I talk many times to the technical person, but I'm really happy to talk to a non-technical people, because that's again a challenging for people like us, or a teacher also maybe. How do we reach it to them, whatever we want? That's what the challenges are there and so on. Again, I think it is also one of the responsibility of a PR to reach the desired persons, in what way, how, all these things. As far as today's topic is considered, it's really, it's not necessary that it should be a technical itself. As all of us know, the things have been changing, the things have changed a lot. And of course, the word AI is literally a buzzword today. But then when we ask ourselves a question, when a lot of things are going on with respect to AI, how much is the things going on in the world and how much we know? The question to be asked is, where we are today, where is the world today, how fast world is going, how fast we are growing. The way you lose a pace in this area, the race also might be lost also. And that's where, again, then awareness in this area is a very important part, where again, I still remember the government is taking an initiative, faculties are taking initiatives, students are taking initiatives. And as we have seen, to learn anything, today I do not require to go to universities or college or somewhere else. There have been many examples and cases where people who are not from the technology domain have shown a very innovative approaches and applications in the domain of an AI, where it is much more appreciable as compared to even engineering people as well. The reason again, it's only a passion of those people. And I'm not speaking of the people who are 55, 60, etc. I'm speaking of the people who are 8 year, 9 year, 10 year, 16 year old. This is the world again, as when we speak from the technology. How much do we trust? So as sir was speaking with respect to the cyber crimes that are happening today, of course this is a combination, that's the same thing. Yesterday I was listening to some of this podcast and so on. In 1 month, in Pune, approximately 9,500 crores of amount was lost by the people in Pune, approximately. This is very small amount, okay? This is again only the people which are being known. And I'm sure, in fact, yesterday itself I got a call from, again, scammer saying that you want to update your bill in Pune's flat, etc., etc., and so on. Now again, what's important in this area is how do we respond to such cases? Though I'm going a bit away from the main topic, but the things here are such that you should not believe anything. Anything is possible. Please remember, anything is possible technologically. Now when I say, before we go to this part of an AI, let us understand what AI is again. AI is again nothing but the way with which we grow since we had born, the way with which we interact with an environment, and the things which we learn. The same thing is what is we are giving this type of an information to a machine or a system. Artificial intelligence. Though this term started in probably 1944 or 1930s, it's not new one, it's a old version. Sorry. But still, today why it is more important? The things, this kind of a subject is there since last 30, 40 years. A lot of evolutions have been done. Even in my, I still remember in my MTech in 1998, I studied one of this subject called as the artificial neural network and so on. It was taught in 1998. But even at that time, it was not so much popular. Multiple reasons are there. One, though the concept and theory was there, but the computation power and then applications and the importance of data was not that at that time and so on. Now the reason I'm telling is, this technology deals with these three kinds. One is, again, the data, as many of us are being seeing now. Instead of a petrol, a new kind of gold will be a data. And of course, India will play a significant role because of its population, whatever it may. But do we control it? No, we do not control it. Controlling people are somewhere else, someone else. So we need to think again. That's a different case. So in the AI, when the evolution started, it was simply, initial version was a classification clustering approach. Just like when the initial version comes, AI was considered to be, when some group of people comes, a classification of red color, blue color, etc., came in. That was the initial version where some kind of an algorithms were there. Let us forget about those things. So it's like by some machines, or maybe some automation you might have seen in factories and so on, a simple case, big box, small box, separating and then converting into a certain blocks and so on. This one. The things literally changed when concept of what is called as an artificial neural started. A neuron, biological neuron or artificial neuron, where we are simulating the conditions of how we think, how we build into a machine or a test, or maybe some kind of a circuit, where it consists of certain inputs, where it consists of certain weights, some decision making and output and so on. Conventionally, a simple case, in case of a conventional methodology, what we do is, some input is taken, a program is run, and you get an output and so on. But in this area, it's the reverse case. Some input is there, some output is there, and we design, or what we get is nothing but that's what a concept of an AI and so on. So something is known in both the cases, input and output. That's where the learning and training happens to the system. Now, imagine yourself again, all of you, most of you are from Bengal here. So the kind of the learning that happened since your childhood is based upon what is the essence in this area as transfer. I'm from Maharashtra. So you can see again, in case of some of my accent, the way which I talk, probably it is mix of Marathi, English, etc. and so on. The same thing is here. So whatever the input I'm getting, whatever the things I'm producing while speaking, behaving, maybe whatever it may be, it's based upon what I learned in my environment. Same thing happens in an AI also. Whatever you feed, it learns only from that point of view, responds only that kind of a concepts and so on. Now, when we see an application, as I said, first initially was clustering, then the neuron was there, then I do not want to make you confused, but some kind of algorithms were there, which is called as a CNN convolution neural networks, which works on an images and so on. So usually when we consider an applications from artificial intelligence point of view, we classify into certain categories. When I consider categories, maybe from the images point of view, maybe from videos point of view, maybe from data point of view, maybe from sensors point of view. This is how I collect data. When I consider a domain, of course, I have an infinite domain. Education domain is there, PR domain is there, medical domain, health sector is there, manufacturing is there, where most of us are working. Communication is there. So infinite domains are there. In all these domains, same part of algorithms are being used. Either it is a clustering algorithm, or a CNN algorithm, or LSTM algorithm, or reinforcement algorithm, or LLM, or OLM, or SLM. These are the flavors, just like maybe some kind of a black boxes are there which do some specific kind of the things and so on. Now for a developer again, is if I want to design a system, just because of AI, should I use everything? No. Again, that's not the case essentially. So depending upon what is being offered, what are the solutions, accordingly the decisions are being taken how to design a system. So when we consider any application which is to be discussed from the AI point of view, it starts with the collection of a data. So that data may be either a sensor data, maybe a voice data, maybe a video data, anything and so on. Then cleaning, processing, actually all these things are there. Then what is called as a model is defined, what you expect. You expect certain output, you expect certain new thing to be generated, you expect some analysis to be carried out, you expect something is to be done, new thing is to be done, or analyzing anomalies specifically, those things are done. So accordingly, A, B, C, D, E, F algorithms are being decided and so on. Once it is done, it is trained for that category. So when the training comes into picture, multiple inputs are there. This training happens, output is there, and then maybe either inference models or maybe deploying into the certain conditions that thing happens and the testing happens. This is what the conventional method of any AI applications happens. Now here is, now we are, let us say, the people who use a different kind of AI. When we ask ourselves today, again I say, I don't think any domain is there or will remain where AI is not being embedded into that one. So almost every aspect of life, my cell phone is there, my traveling is there, my television is there, my automation of the equipments are there, working, etc. Anything, education, everything, AI is there and so on. Now this AI, again, as I said, will behave depending on how it is being trained to it. Depending upon what kind of a data is being fed to it. Depending upon how fast it is asked to learn, how slow it is asked to run, multiple things are there. And depending upon this category itself, quality of a application is being decided. So now, couple of days before, you might have seen, OpenAI had launched ChatGPT. At the same time, after some days, Google also started, maybe again, I think 3-4 months before, DeepSeek from China is there. I think Elon Musk has started Grok also. Some controversy was there still again a couple of days before with respect to that, whether the data is correct, answers are correct or not. Now, when I ask myself a question, you or maybe as a PR people and so on, what I should go for? Should I go for ChatGPT? Should I go for Gemini? Should I go for Group or Dale, etc., etc.? Many things are there as well. Still, again, there are various versions are there. So, how do I check? How do I decide on what it is to be going? Should I go with respect to the price, or should I go with respect to the performance? If it is a performance, who decides the performance? How do we check this performance? So, in this case, that's the thing where some kind of testing or the sensing of the responsibilities of we as a user comes into picture. Now let's say the responsibilities. One of the cases, let's say responsibilities of a PR section. One of them is, of course, representing the correct fact about an organization, whichever you are representing. Second thing is marketing purpose, maybe how the branding happens, what are the ways in which case the branding happens, how do I reach to the people as much as possible, because as I said, nowadays physical reach is not, in fact in morning we are discussing print media, advertising print media probably is not needed these days, or maybe not sufficient as compared to the volume which a digital media presence has and so on. So how do I decide, what things decide the reach to the people? Here again, the big people comes into picture, either a Google or a Facebook or Instagram, etc., etc., where they control almost all our information. I don't know how many of you know, when you check your Facebook login profile and check how much data of your phone they are taking, parameters, almost it's 124 parameters they are taking. Similarly, Google, similarly all other things which you have on your cell phone, you can check how much of your data is being shared by them, by us actually, by saying accepting certain terms and conditions. That's where again the marketing and all other things comes into picture also. Now when I say whether this models, the systems, AI use, of course it is being used for my ease purpose. As I said, if I want to do as Sir said no, just now to check a ChatGPT, if I give a prompt here, I can get a poem and so on. That's an example. Now when such things happens, even I do probably to, in fact as I work in some kind, rather than work, I'm required to design certain course materials and so on. Titles. So for example, I want to design some kind of NVIDIA NIM services and so on. How they are being applicable. So I simply write a prompt and get maybe 40-hour session, 12-hour session, everything I get perfectly. But sometimes in that case, 20% are not correct things and so on. This happens, this I come to know because I know what is expected. So one of the things which I'm trying to tell you that is, when you ask certain thing to be done by an AI or any system or ChatGPT, etc., at least you visualize what is an expected outcome and so on. If we can visualize, for example, in our, again I'm from engineering, when I say engineering, we are working on various simulation parameters and so on. So various simulators are there. So the real, in a case of a simulator, what is expected is I need to simulate certain circuits, certain systems and get the output. Many times we do that one, get the output, forgetting what are the initial parameters and so on. So in such scenarios, if the initial parameters, initialization of those simulators are not known to you or not designed by you, you will not be able to predict what is the outcome and so on. So similarly, in case of these applications, infinite applications you have these days, millions of applications. When you start using, at least have a visualization of what is being expected from that point of view. And then In syncing, if 80% is there, then maybe verification of those things may come into picture. Manipulation, a human interferences has to be there in case when the certain things are to be taken from the decision point of view. Now, when a training happens, there are various possibilities. Now, let us understand how this AI applications are being designed, for what purpose, and how it can be misused or misguide everything and so on. If an application is to be designed, what is expected from that application is a fairer data to be given to particular AI. So fairer data means uniformly distributed data from each and every kind. And so if I'm designing any kind of an application for India-based system, I should have a group of people from Calcutta, I should have a group of people from Mumbai, from maybe Chennai, etc., etc. Equal distribution that. And in such case, the distribution will be fairer, the training will be an uniform related, and the result probably you will be getting is from the fairer point of view. But sometimes there is a concept called as the data poisoning also. So many times it happens that when my system is to be trained, I take a data. I may not have a sufficient data. I am taking a data from all over world point of view. How do I know that the data itself is a fair data? How do I check those cases? And if the data is not fair, the poisoning or biases, rather than poisoning, biases will be there. And then the training will be there from the biases point of view, and the results again will not be the same thing. So fairness has to be there in case of a training of a data. The equal distribution of a data has to be there. So whenever the systems are designed, these things have to be taken into consideration by the developer. But presently again, there are not a fixed defined laws and systems that are has been finalized into this area. Though some rules and regulations regarding data protections are there, but from the systems point of view, they are still going on. The things are not yet finalized. Planning are there, papers are there, evaluations are there, but again it is in the developmental stages and so on. So one of the things, some of the things which we consider from the responsible AI point of view is multiple factors are there. First is whatever you are sharing, or let's say again generation. If I want to generate certain things, by a prompt I can generate the same thing through multiple LLMs offered to me. Verify those cases. Now when verifying those cases, of course, maybe again, I don't know how many of you know, but I am also working on a concept called as a OSINT, which is called as a open source intelligence. Probably this will be more informative for you people. In a word, the open source intelligence is a concept where I think almost all organizations, almost all people's 80% of data is available on net free. So specifically this is being used by the law enforcement agencies to identify and work on that one, but there are certain tricks, methods to work on. So if from the peer point of view, whenever certain things are being decided, developed and known, you verify those cases, either from the OSINT point of view or the data available point of view. After verification, only the sharing of information has to be taken. This is some of the concept that is to be understood. One thing again remember is the privacy of a person. And this is very important, very strict. Probably I think some of the laws in European and US are too strict. If by some means, if you are doing a business in Europe or USA or any other country where there's GPD or some kind of regulations are there, and by some means if data is being shared or being leaked, you have a heavy penalty on that case. So your privacy has to be maintained whatever the things are to be shared, it has to be ensured so the privacy has to be maintained to ensure that the data doesn't go on a public domain. Again, as I said, being a technology, I work into the multiple areas. One of them is cybersecurity again. Please remember, once any kind of your data goes from your cell phone or laptop or anywhere outside, it is very difficult to erase it and so on. Or it's like an impossible to erase it and so on. So when you're working with some kind of a devices, either your cell phone or a laptop or any other thing, you know yourself when you are sharing certain things, what you are sharing, and you are knowing that you are sharing that particular things and so on. Because as I said, once the things are beyond your devices, you do not have any control on that case, and data will remain always in the net and so on. Probably you might have heard the names of deep web, dark web, etc., etc., and so on. That's a different world itself. So taking care of these privacies, taking care of the data, taking care of a generation of a data, whether it's right or wrong, this will help in case of a trust or a brand. Again, we have seen the companies, the names which we have heard. There is some kind of a market value, some kind of a known image of certain companies. Apple, Google, etc., etc., or even our India, most of the companies are there. In such a cases, they have there some kind of a policies. And similarly, Google also has this policy. Even Facebook has this policy in terms of ethical AIs, development. They have their frameworks. And based upon these frameworks, based upon the rules and regulations that are to be followed, every check is being done, and then only the products are launched and so on. So in such scenarios, you as a professional, multiple things need to be asked when doing this kind of an activities. Abstraction, when the abstraction of a huge amount of data comes into picture. Again, whether this is correct, whether it is biased or not biased, when video analytics is to be done. In such a cases, what kind of a technology, whether things are right or wrong, when probably you need to scan, as these days again, you might have heard the LLMs nowadays, the word is called LLM, large language model. It's like an universe where infinite knowledge is fed. We give a prompt, it responds it. Now, these do not give a perfect answers, which is 100% right. To make them perfect with respect to your requirement, the agents are built now. That's what now the concept of an agentic AI, etc., comes into picture. You can have your own agentic AI built by yourself for your organizations, which the data is fetched based upon your requirement, to ensure that the information about your firm, your information is correctly being fed to the LLMs, and the responses are there. So these are being fine-tuned. Next version, again, maybe again too scary again. As I said, there is one concept also called as a singularity AI, where day or time is being decided, where intelligence of almost all people will be embedded into one machine. And that day is probably initially it was 2045. Probably it was said, then it has been brought back to 230. Now it is being said, a couple of days before I was just reading some of these things, it has been already done, but not in a public domain. In such a cases, when I say LLM, agentic AI, these agents will start reading what they want to get a data. At present, what we are doing is we were pushing a data to them. Now they will learn by themselves through whatever is available, take their own decisions. Now the stage may come in future where we may not have a control on these models of an AI and so on. Now, it's dangerous. But now again, as I said, that's where, again, a human person should dig into the operations of the systems. How does it work? Why does it work? Whether it is giving it correct answers or not. If not, whether they are into the required framework or not. And so in such cases, again, as I said, need not be an engineer. Even with a single English language, Wikipedia, etc., most of the things are being known. But have an information. As I said, what is important is, many times it happens that because of an misinformation, the decisions are being taken and so on. As sir also gave an example, even in my organization, that happened. WhatsApp was hacked. So it was taken to some other domain. From that, the photo was, in fact, in your case, sir, photo was hacked. But here, actual WhatsApp was hacked. So, I think all of you know, even if you scan code, automatically it can go to their devices. And then once it is there, then you can imagine what happens and so on. So, from there again, from his mail ID, from that WhatsApp, message was given, and of course, money was being transferred and lost. This is a single case, but every day, such things are happening. As I said, only in single Pune, 9,000, 10,000 per month, money is going. Of course, here everywhere is there. As I said, even yesterday I got a call, scammers. I'm in touch with the cybersecurity people. I just post them, or you can, each of you go to the 193 and then register all these cases and so on. But things are happening. Be aware. So either it is a cyber or a PR. What is important is, there is a, in our telecommunications, there is also from electronics and communication, there is a concept called, there is a concept called as a zero trust network. Okay, what is the meaning of now? What was the concept of networking previously is, when I'm a Jio, when I'm a Airtel or some more people, the Jio, Airtel and BSNL has a trust that when you are asking your customer to enter in, then I'm trusting you, so he can enter anywhere and so on. But that has created a problem in telecom, and that's where all the scams are there and so on. Now the concept is coming called as a zero trust network. Whoever you are, either you are PM or president, I do not trust you.